Hey, KU fans, welcome back to KU Sports Extra. Here with Benton Smith, I'm Matt Tate over at the T-Mobile Center.
You did it.
Get it right.
You didn't say Sprint Center.
Get it right. I did have a note in my notebook tonight about KU's history at T-Mobile Center. Evidently, they're 1-0, but I went ahead and added up all their games here as well. So, anyway, KU wins it tonight, 69-62, and I'm really sorry about this, but it's loud out there. That Texas Tech game's still going on. KU wins it 69-62 over Oklahoma tonight, shorthanded, without David McCormick. And I thought for a long time in this game they looked really, really good. What stood out to you? I mean, did anything surprise you about how well they played in that first half without Dave?
Probably just since they hadn't gone with a lot of five-guard lineups recently, that was a little surprising that it did look pretty good there for a while. And, I mean, obviously a lot of that had to do with DeJuan Harris, right?
Oh, yeah.
He had like 4 steals in the first half. And, I mean, KU was racking up points off turnovers just because there were live ball situations where they could go and score and actually get some easy baskets. But they also were just, kind of going at it inside early on. And, Mitch Lightfoot came in and immediately he was getting a layup and a jump hook a couple minutes later. So, I mean, they even when they went without 5 guards and they went with the traditional big man and their backup big man, that was working too. So it was a great start, but obviously you kind of knew OU was going to recover, but I mean, they really did well in the second half to make that game interesting late.
Yeah, they cut it to 3. They scored 47 points. So you're right. I mean, as good as KU was, and Self said this after the game, as good as KU was in that first half, they were in a lot of ways equally as bad in the second, and OU was equally as good in the second half. So, Brady Manick, Austin Reeves, they went and got theirs in the second half. Yeah. KU did a great job. Self said it. I mean, that 5-guard lineup that they started with Bryce Thompson in the starting lineup instead of McCormick, allowed them to switch everything, and it really frustrated Oklahoma. And Oklahoma went 6-7 minutes without a bucket for a while late in that in the first half, and really just looked like after that first timeout, because KU didn't start great, but after that first timeout, they really turned up their intensity defensively, and that's when they took control of the game. 35-15 at halftime. They're up 20 early in the second half, and then, like you said, OU just stormed back. They started making shots. They got hot. They started feeling themselves. But, then they cut it to 3, and Ochai Agbaji goes nuts. 3 consecutive three-pointers. I don't even know if any of them hit the net. I mean, they were so pure, and you could tell that this was a guy that was really looking for his shot, wanted the ball, assertive, energy, emotion. You don't always see that from him, but I love seeing it tonight because he kind of carried his team to that cushion, and then they kind of coasted down the stretch there by other guys making some plays. But he was so huge in that stretch.
Yeah, well, I mean, when you look at the box score after the game, who was productive? It was your veterans, right? Ochai Agbaji, Marcus Garrett with one of his better offensive nights. Self was just raving about how well he played offensively tonight and taking advantage of mismatches and just going inside and, scoring over a smaller guard when he could and getting easy stuff. And then Mitch Lightfoot scores 11 off the bench in 20 minutes. So your vets were coming through with a shorthanded team tonight.
Yeah, that's a really good point. You wrote about Mitch and his explosion. You asked him about the heat check. I didn't even see the first 3. I'll be honest with you. I must have been writing something down.
Yeah, right.
I knew they hit it, but I didn't even see it. I did see the second one. He had a good explanation, though, for it. What was it?
Yeah, I mean, I asked him if it was a heat check just because, it was so quick. And, I mean, obviously he had hit one a few minutes earlier, and he was definitely kind of feeling it offensively. But there was actually some logic behind it. Marcus Garrett basically told him, shoot it, because it was a 2-for-1 situation. I think 42 seconds were left at that point, and it's just math. You put it up there, and then whether it goes in or not, you're going to get that extra possession to close the half. And they were up 20, but they were still doing what they would do in any type of game, regardless of the situation.
Yeah, it looked for a while like they were going to totally walk away with this game, run away with this game, and then they had to make some plays. And I thought it was really interesting that Self said he liked that. I mean, he didn't want them to fall apart, obviously, but the game pressure and having to make plays when it counted down the stretch, it's not unlike that UTEP game last week where they had to prove something to themselves. Well, they proved they could come back in a game like that. Now tonight they proved if they give up a big lead, they can still close. I mean, this team's just learning lessons, stacking things of positivity on top of each other. It's a good win. Oklahoma's a good basketball team. They're ranked 25th. They're headed to the tournament. And KU beat them without their, arguably their best player throughout Big 12 play. I mean, that's a pretty big win. And now they're headed to the semifinals where they'll face the winner of this game out there right now. By the time you guys are watching this, you'll know. We don't know right now, though. Texas or Texas Tech. Real quick, just those matchups. I mean, Texas obviously swept KU in the regular season. I think that's a really tough matchup. But there's something about that matchup to me that makes me intrigued by the idea of 5 guards against all those Texas bigs. It's not necessarily what you would pick for a fight, but
Right.
it might be just enough to make it a little weird for Texas too. And I think that'd be intriguing. And then Self against Beard, Texas Tech against Kansas. Those have been so classic lately. I mean, you can't hate either of those matchups. Which one do you want to see and why?
I'd probably be more interested in seeing a Texas Tech KU game, just because I do think with the Longhorns bigs and KU only having Mitchell Lightfoot, I really don't think KU would have much of a chance if that was the matchup. So I think KU Texas Tech would be a more competitive game. I think Texas might actually win pretty easily if they face a KU team without David McCormick.
Yeah, I think it's a bad matchup for Kansas, even with McCormick, really. So,
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
That definitely makes it a tougher deal. There's no doubt they'd like another crack at him, though, right? I mean, teams don't sweep Kansas
Sure,
in the
yeah.
regular
Mm-hmm.
season. So they got a day to prepare for it. They'd have something to figure out. They don't even have a day. They've got like half a day or whatever. But, they'd probably throw something at them, whether it's a junk defense or some trapping strategy or something weird. They're not going to just go out there and play straight and have Texas just take it to them. But Texas is good. We've seen that twice. They beat KU by 25 in Allen Fieldhouse. And then in overtime in Austin. So KU's trending in the right direction against Texas. They're just still going to be shorthanded, and it's going to be really interesting. But, this was such a big game because now it's kind of house money, right? Like you get to the semifinals, whatever happens here, especially when you're playing without one of your best players, I don't think it hurts your seeding next week. I don't think it hurts anything. What I do know, though, is that it was freaking amazing to see basketball back in this building. Fans were here, not packed, of course, but this was it, man. This is where it all fell apart last year, one freaking year ago. And here we are. Yeah, we're wearing masks and there's no buffet that you can gorge on. There was a nice medium meal, but it wasn't just unlimited nasty gorging, which is great for the physique. But just being back in this building, watching basketball, this is the best time of year, and this is one of the greatest events in Kansas City and in college basketball. So it was, not to get nostalgic or cry or anything like that, but it was really cool to see this happening. And they're charging toward next week in the NCAA tournament. Any final thoughts, Benton?
No, I mean, I'm obviously just kind of in limbo here with our video and the timing of it. And we don't know who they're going to play tomorrow. Should be entertaining either way, but I would bet that KU might prefer a Texas Tech matchup if they're trying to win this thing this weekend.
There you go. Well, Baylor, Oklahoma State in the other semifinal. I don't know if you read my projections for the tournament, but kind of went exactly how I laid it out. So you go back and look at that if you want. You can send me an email. You can tell me how amazing I am. You can also tell me what an idiot I am for holding this computer and making it wobble all game. So sorry about that. I'll do better tomorrow. But I will be back here tomorrow, and so will Kansas. KU wins at 69-62 over Oklahoma. They will play someone in the semifinals, and by the time most of you are watching this, you'll know who it is. So enjoy the game and let us know who they're playing, please. For Benton Smith, I'm Matt Tate. Thanks for checking out KU Sports Extra.